I'm Kate Andrews, and here's a look at what is going on this week in the news. And we begin with an update from the VatiLeaks trial. The man accused of giving confidential Vatican documents to reporters is denying he did any such thing. Nicola Maio, former executive secretary of the Prefecture for the Economic Affairs of the Holy See, testified at the criminal trial April 11th. In his testimony, he said not only was he innocent of leaking the documents, he also only met those reporters for the first time at the trial. Maio is facing charges for divulging news and documents concerning fundamental interests of the Vatican. He said that everything he did was under the orders of Monsignor Lucio Vallejo Balda, Secretary of the Commission. The Monsignor is also facing charges. Maio testified that he did have access to the documents because that was his job. He also admitted to taking the documents out of the Commission's office, but only when he was required to get signatures or seals from Vatican officials. In news from the Vatican, last week we reported some of the highlights of Pope Francis's apostolic exhortation on the family. Rome Reports now takes an in-depth look at the document.
The Pope reaches out to the divorced and remarried who wish to reconcile with the Church. Because they broke the promises of their first marriage, for example, they cannot receive communion, teach catechism, or be godparents. However, the Pope does not want to close the door on those who sincerely wish to resume the sacraments because their divorce prevents them. The Pope asked priests and bishops to face these situations with a constructive response and to help them integrate each case with its own sense of measure into the Church. Throughout the text, there are many invitations to appreciate the importance of personal conscience, which matured in conversation with the priest. Pope Francis says that this does not mean that the Church should make for good all situations. Naturally, if someone wants to flaunt an objective sin as if it were part of the Christian ideal, or wants to impose something other than what the Church teaches, he or she can in no way presume to teach or preach to others. This is in the case of something which separates from the community. The Pope gives several examples. He says it's not the same situation for those who have been abandoned or for those who have betrayed and abandoned his or her partner. Pope Francis recalls that since the degree of responsibility is not equal in all cases, the consequences or effects of a rule need not necessarily always be the same. The Pope takes in consideration the good intentions of those who speak in conscience and seek spiritual help, without trying to put their desires above the common good of the Church. This is why he invites the divorced who are interested to speak to a priest and warns that they may not always encounter in them a confirmation of their own ideas or desires, but they will surely receive some light to help them better understand their situation and discover a path to personal growth. This is only one of the 9 chapters of the innovative apostolic exhortation titled Amoris Laetitia on the family, in which the Pope asks the Church to not tire of promoting the beauty of the Christian marriage and work to help married couples to happily keep their promises.
In news from around the country, should religion and politics be kept separate? That would be a big no, according to Madeleine Albright. The former U.S. Secretary of State said that religion must be at the table in foreign policy discussions. In a recent lecture at Georgetown University, she said that the greatest modern challenge is to build bridges of understanding and tolerance. She said religion is a powerful force, and the challenge is to harness the unifying potential of faith while containing its capacity to divide. The lecture kicked off the 10th anniversary celebration of Georgetown's Berkeley Center for Religion, Peace, and World Affairs. Albright is currently the Michael and Virginia Mortara Endowed Distinguished Professor in the Practice of Diplomacy at the school. Albright ended her address with a plea for groups to do more to help people understand religion and advance the cause of peace. In news from around the world, as we reported in March, Pope Francis will visit Armenia. Now the Vatican is releasing the dates for that trip, as well as another to Georgia and Azerbaijan. Pope Francis was invited to Armenia by the Patriarch of the Armenian Apostolic Church and the government. He will be there June 24th through the 26th. The trip to Georgia and Azerbaijan, an invitation from the Georgian Patriarch and the 2 governments, will be September 30th through October 2nd. The Vatican released the dates of both trips at the same time as a diplomatic necessity. Armenia and Azerbaijan have an ongoing dispute over Nagorno-Karabakh, an enclave in Azerbaijan. In 1988, the ethnic Armenian majority of the enclave voted to unify with Armenia. However, the enclave status has never been resolved. Sporadic fighting has occurred since, most recently at the beginning of April. Pope Francis will be the second pope to visit all three nations. Pope John Paul II visited Armenia in 2001, Georgia in 1999, and Azerbaijan in 2002. Well, that's going to do it for news. I'm Kate Andrews. You can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV Network.